Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about kind of the Basement Yard podcast and how effective it is to start your morning off on a more positive or just lighthearted note. So the podcast originally started around 2015, originally as a solo podcast featuring Joe Santagato. Some people might recognize Joe's name because he has been on Vine and YouTube historically for the last 2 decades, essentially. He kind of started just making fun content with his friends and has gone viral, and he's kind of been around for a little while. He's one of the OG YouTubers, if you would. And shortly after he had started this podcast, he kind of realized that, maybe he needed a co-host and he needed to switch things up. So he did have a short-term co-host who helped serve over about 100 episodes before that co-host did exit, before he had entered in a new kind of subject with his co-host and longtime childhood best friend, Frank Alvarez. Joe and Frank have known each other again since they were young. They originally met because their older sisters are friends, and with that just kind of came more shenanigans and more fun stories, and that's kind of what you see mostly on their podcast. I think it's a good way to start my morning personally, because I know I'm going to be in for something wild. I'm going to be in for something that I haven't heard, and they're going to say probably the most outrageous things, and definitely not a podcast to listen to if you are looking to learn something or looking to, really grow as a person. This is more just lighthearted funness, and it's interesting as a longtime fan of the podcast. I have now seen them within the last 2 years kind of really flourish and grow in terms of creators. They've recently just sold out Madison Square Garden this past 2 weeks. And then before that, they've even sold out Radio City Music Hall. So it really does go to show that just hard work and the ethics that they have can really lead to truly life-changing moments, and you kind of never know where the future can take you. And the internet truly could also be a tool to grow and kind of really start a career within the entertainment industry. But I personally like to watch The Basement Yard because I learned about them while I was going through my transplant recovery, and I kind of was in isolation for about 3 months, and I kind of got really tired of watching a lot of TV and hearing the same things, and I wanted to talk about pop culture with people, but I wanted to also learn more about pop culture things just because I had all this free time on my hands. And that kind of led me to scrolling on TikTok for the first time, learning about The Basement Yard, just thinking that this was something so silly and so weird. And a lot of people have now kind of seen their viral moments of them kind of arguing back and forth. For example, there's a lot of clips where they're singing, or Frankie thinks that he can kind of take on a bear. And there's just a lot of kind of fun things that they do to keep things interesting. For Halloween, they have professional makeup artists come in and they'll dress up. And it's really good to kind of start your day out on that tone, because then I think with society today, we tend to take things super literal and everything's very serious. And I think we forget to kind of just enjoy and have our inner child kind of just be met and like be a kid and engage in those silly little things. And that's part of the reason I think why so many people enjoy the Basement Yard content, because they are just truly 2 grown men being idiots, having the time of their lives, being best friends, sharing stories about their lives. And they really invite you in and make you kind of feel like you're in on the conversation, but also it's just a good way to ease into every day. I think it's important because we can get into the hustle and bustle of everyday life and often forget about just kind of being in the moment and just kind of taking a breath. And when I watch The Basement Yard, I'm kind of able to just unplug my brain, forget about things, and just kind of listen and go about my day. And it really helps. It truly kind of gives me a new start to the week. It gives me something to look forward to in the morning that's not coffee or food. It's just something that I do for myself to kind of really get things going and make sure that I'm starting off on the right foot.